Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Quickly Find, Process and Generate Products from Landsat-8 Imagery. This is the first in a series of Harris Partner webinars. We're delighted that you can join us today. We are running these in 3 time zones across the world and have attracted registrations from over 80 different countries. My name is Nigel Brown. I am both the moderator and the co-presenter, and I am Partners Manager here at Harris Geospatial Solutions. So I'm delighted to be able to present to you today. And I'm joined by 2 colleagues. Firstly, from Munich, Germany, Maria Hochleitner, who is the Marketing Manager of our partner CloudEO. So Maria, welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
I'm also joined from Colorado Springs by Tim Pachter. Tim is the Director of Space Systems and Image Science, and he works for L8Genesis, who are presenting today their L8Genesis solution. So Tim, welcome.
Thank you, Nigel.
Tim served as in the United States Air Force as a geophysicist technician, an image scientist, and electronic warfare specialist. And for the past 20 years, he specialized in airborne and satellite image sensor systems with a focus on digital signal processing and the analysis of both multispectral and hyperspectral data. So let's take a look at the agenda. We've done some introductions for you, and we would like to start off with Maria giving an overview of the CloudEO GeoMarketplace and specifically the L8Genesis GeoServices that are available on CloudEO. We'll then hand over to Tim, who will introduce you to the L8Genesis product line in more detail and also take a look at some use cases of the L8Genesis analysis tools. We'll wrap up with a Q&A session, and that will be at the end. And we ask for your participation in 3 particular activities today. We will be conducting 3 poll questions during the webinar. We would appreciate if you'd input when requested for those. And as mentioned earlier, you can submit questions into the chat box, which is in the audio controls and the webcast itself. When you exit the webinar today, the third thing we're going to ask is for you to take a short survey. It takes about 2 minutes of your time, and we would really appreciate you completing this. So CloudEO have been a Harris platform partner for the last 4 years, and today we'll find out more about the CloudEO platform, how it enables data producers and developers to build geoservices solutions that can be shared or sold directly to data consumers. L8Genesis have been users of our MV software for over 20 years, and today they show us how, as developers, they've been able to quickly and easily deploy the L8Genesis analytics on the CloudEO platform. I'm looking forward to learning more myself about the capabilities of these services and the information and insights that they provide. But first, we invite you to participate in your first poll question. So you'll see the poll appear on your screens. The question is, in a typical month, how many Landsat scenes do you typically currently process? Answers: A for 0, B 1 through 10, C 11 through 50, D 51 to 100. And if you're processing 100 or more scenes a month, please answer E. We'll give you about 10 more seconds to input your answers, and then we'll show the results of that poll. You can see some answers being collated here. We're about to close the poll, so let's see what we have. Okay, we have a mix across the board, but a lot that are not currently processing Landsat scenes. So that's great. You'll see today the capabilities of how quickly and easily it is to get meaningful information from Landsat data using L8Genesis. We also see that a large number of people processing 1 to 10 scenes, so very active in that lower level of scenes, and somebody at least 2% doing 100+ scenes. So the nice thing about the CloudEO platform running L8Genesis is that it scales to very large numbers of scenes being processed. So I think you'll be delighted at what you see today. Very good. Well, thank you for your participation, and that will have 2 more survey polls coming up later in the webinar. I'd like to now hand over to Maria, who will talk to you about the CloudEO GeoMarketplace.
Thank you, Nigel. So what do we do at CloudEO? CloudEO operates a marketplace for geo software, geodata, and IT. We offer services from multiple vendors, and we operate worldwide. At CloudEO, our aim is to make geoservices affordable and also easily accessible. Our services include solutions from many industries like agriculture, urban planning, forestry, as well as multi-purpose remote sensing imagery, elevation data, thematic maps, software, analytics, and more. This makes us a one-stop shop for easy-to-use geoservices that can be beneficial for customers from a huge variety of different fields. And due to the high automation of our services, we take out the hassle of production, delivery, and accounting. And we can offer high-value geoservices at low cost for our customers. As already mentioned, we offer services from multiple vendors, and therefore our partner network is really important to us. So we are proud to have partners like Harris and L8Genesis, who help us to continuously grow the offer on the marketplace. And of course, we also want to support our partners as much as possible, for example, in their go-to-market strategies and in producing their services as cost-efficient as possible. The products we will talk about today in this webinar fall into that category as well. So our Landsat-8 Workbench is an interactive remote sensing environment that gives you easy access to the latest Landsat-8 imagery for your area of interest. This is great because you simply log in and you can start your work right away. Then, within the subscription period, all new acquired Landsat imagery is automatically being uploaded to the Workbench. So, no search for data, no downloads, nothing needed. Of course, you can upload any data of your own to the Workbench as well. And you can combine this product with L8Genesis, which is the most comprehensive analysis tool for Landsat-8. L8Genesis is a great asset for any geospatial professional looking to quickly process, transform, and generate products from Landsat-8 imagery. With only one single command, a very comprehensive phenomenology analysis is performed for a complete Landsat scene, and that in only a few minutes. Like that, even novices in remote sensing can explore Landsat-8 imagery and the benefits it can have. You simply select a scene. You select your L8Genesis options like standard or advanced indices, and you can retrieve results right after that. To make the service even more flexible, we also offer L8Genesis as a monitoring service. Here you select your area of interest and the monitoring period, and then you will get regular updates and alerts. For more details, I would like to hand over to Tim now, our expert from L8Genesis.
Thank you, Maria. First, a real quick background on L8Genesis. L8Genesis uses state-of-the-art Earth observation technologies to extract, process, and analyze geospatial and remote sensing data. We turn the data into actionable, value-added information and develop novel software solutions to modern-day challenges within the Earth observation industry. Our goal is to provide information products that are intelligible, meaningful, and insightful. The L8Genesis tool represents nearly a decade of collaborative effort to automate the discovery, acquisition, processing, and analysis of multispectral and thermal satellite imagery collected from the Landsat missions. L8Genesis is an extremely efficient way to bulk process large volumes of Landsat-8 data. It's fully automated and generates several commonly used band indices, as well as some more advanced and complex algorithms that users may find beneficial to their analysis. We won't go too much into detail on those just yet. It'll be covered in the following slides. So the CloudEO platform and the user interface on CloudEO are very complementary to the L8Genesis processing. The CloudEO interface allows you to simply draw or upload a shapefile of your area of interest, and the CloudEO store will automatically acquire the correct path row images according to your specifications. You can also upload your own data that you have stored locally on your computer, and it'll process that. It'll then process all of your data automatically and deliver over 100 standard and advanced indices, which we'll cover in the next few slides, in addition to the basic calibrated data products and several useful color composite images. There's a very high value in terms of manpower time savings, particularly for those who are processing multiple images per month. Rather than spending several hours calibrating and processing and manually entering different band indices and algorithms, you can process several Landsat images in a matter of just a few minutes.
Well, thank you, Tim. And now we'd like to move on to our poll question number 2, which is coming up. So the question is, do you run your data through any pre-processing workflows prior to performing any spectral analyses? Enter A for yes, B for no, and if you're either not doing any processing today or don't know, please enter C. We will give you about 15 more seconds to make your selection, and then Tim, if you could give a comment on the output results. We seem to have a lot of entries coming in, and here come the results.
Okay, great. So it looks like the majority of you are running some processing or pre-processing, and a few are just using standard band composites or unprocessed Landsat data. So we'll cover now a little bit more of what we're doing on our pre-processing side, and we can see whether or not that's in line with what you guys already do manually. So the steps of what L8Genesis does, the L8 data generally comes in as a compressed folder that contains each band of data as an individual TIFF file. L8Genesis automatically decompresses the data, does a layer stack, performs the radiance, surface reflectance, and temperature emissivity calculations. All of this is done according to the industry standards that are outlined in the Landsat-8 User's Guide, so there are no surprises in that processing. We do a couple of error checks looking for erroneous values. We decrypt the band composition information, which also outputs essentially a class image that says where water is, where bad pixels are, where the data extent is, that sort of information. And we try to do some bad pixel corrections and things like that, just to try to polish the data. After calibration, L8Genesis will generate several color composite images that can be used for basic image interpretation and analysis. Several of the composites are, again, industry standard products that you probably already use, such as a true color composite, the near IR vegetation composite, and a few others. But we've also included several other band composites that might be helpful for basic analysis of geologic or man-made features, for instance. The foundation package, which is essentially the calibrated data in bulk processing, also includes some data transformations, such as principal components, canceled caps, and a few others. So if you regularly use those data products, there is additional time savings because all of that's already going to be done for you when you order it on the CloudEO store. The L8Genesis band composites, band indices, and advanced indices are all divided into 4 phenomenology subcategories. We have geological, vegetation, hydrological, and impervious surfaces or man-made materials. With over 100 standard and advanced data products, L8Genesis produces many of the industry standard products that analysts are already using. But in addition to that, we offer several new and complex analysis products that are optimized for each of the 4 major phenomenologies. L8Genesis offers remote sensing and GIS professionals an array of novel and insightful index products that can be added to their analytics. As L8Genesis continues to evolve, future versions will provide its users with a growing catalog of complex indices and new and exciting features. So if there's particular band indices or algorithm that you find useful and you think will benefit the broader community, we can add that into future versions of L8Genesis as well, and it becomes part of the standard bulk processing package. So on the outputs from L8Genesis include a standard ENVI header file, so you can directly import these data products into ENVI for future, further analysis. So this can be done either within the CloudEO Workbench, where you can manipulate those images directly and have immediate access to the results. You can also do a direct download to process on your own computer offline. The GeoTIFF format is also compatible with other common image software, so you can download the data directly and use it however you prefer. So these are the next few slides are going to be some examples of our data products. For instance, on the left we have a standard NDVI, the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. And this comes with our basic indices package. It's an industry standard that just about everybody, I think, has probably run if you've done anything with vegetation before. On the right-hand side, you'll see one of our more advanced indices, the Global Standard Vegetation Index. So these images are over the same area. It's the same image chip, and it's over in very arid desert environment. What you notice with the NDVI is that it's relatively affected by shadows, aerosols. The background soil composition tends to skew the results a little bit as well, depending on what relative scale you're using. Whereas the GSVI does a little bit better job of pulling out just the vegetation. Most of that desert background you can see here is clearly identified as not being vegetation. It doesn't necessarily make the GSVI better. It just means that it's going to work a little bit better on certain scenarios. So we try to have a few different examples for each phenomenology to give our user the flexibility to decide what's going to work best for them. Here's an example from the hydrological category. The MNDWI, the Modified Normalized Difference Water Index on the left, and then the Global Water Index on the right. You can see these two provide very similar results, but also have their own very unique perspectives as well. For instance, on the left, the MNDWI, if you look towards the middle at the very top, some of those waterways you can see are affected by turbidity. So they go from being a very dark blue to a much lighter blue. So if your interest is in looking at turbidity and things like that, the MNDWI might give you the insight that you need. If you're strictly just looking for waterways, specifically some very minor or smaller tertiary waterways, the GWI might be a better option. If you look down there towards the bottom in the area that's green, you can see those tertiary waterways are really pulled out very nicely. You get very good delineation there and not a whole lot of excess visual clutter to throw you off on that. The next one is our impervious surface example. So we have the NDVUI, which is the Normalized Difference Built Up Index. And on the right, we've got the Global Impervious Surface Index. So again, they're both returning fairly similar results, but the GIS side tends to be slightly more sensitive to differentiating things like bare soil or rock, which a lot of times will show up as impervious in the NDVUI. The GISI is a little more finely tuned to exclude that sort of thing. The last example we have is the GHAFI, which is the Global Hydrothermic Alteration Fusion Index. The GAFI is designed to efficiently detect and characterize iron-stained minerals, argillized minerals, hydrothermically altered rock, and epithermal mineralization. it does a pretty good job of distinguishing those features from other thematic classes in an ordinary geologic background. This particular image was taken in Dalal, Ethiopia, and provides a really good example of this particular indice.
Great, thank you, Tim. We'd like to invite you to take part in the third and final poll question now. The question is, which phenomenology domains do you use or plan to use Landsat-8 data for? The options being what Tim has just mentioned: A, vegetation; B, hydrology; C, impervious surfaces or man-made materials; D, geology; or E, none of the above. So we'll give about a 15 to 20 second on this one as there's more time to think. We're seeing a strong indication of vegetation coming up. We'll get ready to close the poll, and the answers should be coming up for you, Tim.
Thank you, Nigel. Yeah, it looks like the majority of our users are going to be interested in vegetation, but there's still a pretty significant interest in hydrology, impervious surface, and geology. So yeah, I think the L8Genesis toolkit is going to provide a pretty wide range of phenomenology products for you. If you would like, we do have a brochure available that goes into more detail on L8Genesis and some of our other products. They can be found on the CloudEO's L8Genesis product pages. You can also find it on our website by going to exogenesis.earth, then clicking the Learn More button. What you may find is with over 100 different indices here, you know, you're going to probably find something that's very well tuned to your specific needs. For instance, with vegetation, as in the example we saw earlier, you might have an indice that works really well in a coastal environment, but doesn't do very well in an arid or dry desert environment. So having a lot of different options gives you a flexibility to look through and find what works best for you.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I would echo your comments regarding the brochure. I was looking through that last week. It's got great detail and really explains all the different indices and the value and specific uses to which you can put them to. So I believe that we should also be able to get that available as a follow-up to the webinar. So for those that are interested to find out more, that's a great resource for this. So now I'd like to hand back to Maria. Maria will talk more about ordering up the various products on CloudEO.
Thank you, Nigel. So, as I showed you in the beginning, we offer different ways to use L8Genesis on our store. I would now like to give you an example for each product and show you how you can order them on our marketplace. So, if you like to do your remote sensing analysis by yourself, then our Landsat-8 Workbench provides you with an easy-to-use interactive remote sensing environment for that. On the right, you can see how the product is being displayed on the store. Our interactive map allows you to choose your area of interest by simply drawing a polygon on the map. It is also possible to save that area of interest on your profile and then use it again later on the store. In this specific example, we chose Denver as our area of interest and the L8Genesis Foundation package, which Tim already explained. We chose the Workbench Standard and a 3-month subscription period. Within that subscription period, whenever there is a Landsat-8 data acquisition, the new data will automatically be uploaded to your Workbench. This is great because it ensures that you always have the latest data to work with, and you don't have to worry about updating or anything. All of that is included in the price, which in this case is $2,691 for 3 months for the whole Denver area. Ordering this, you get the whole package, which includes the IT environment, NBN IDL readily installed on the Workbench, and of course L8Genesis. Then, when we go to the next product, which is L8Genesis, in this case, if you would rather get results for a specific Landsat scene, you order L8Genesis as a product on the store. You simply choose a scene from the catalog and you add it to the cart. In this example, we chose Washington, D.C., which covers an area of 413 square kilometers. And if we now want to have the advanced indices for impervious phenomenology and the L8Genesis Foundation again, which, by the way, is always included, we can see that we have a very low price here. It is only $39, which means 10 cents per square kilometer. So, as I mentioned before, we also have L8Genesis as a monitoring service, which is the last product. In this example, we chose a really big area of interest just to show you. It is a national park close to Calcutta, which covers an area of more than 12,000 square kilometers. We chose advanced hydrological indices, advanced vegetation indices, which, according to the poll question, most of you are interested in, and a monitoring period of 3 months. Also here, the data is automatically being updated with each new Landsat-8 data acquisition. The total price for this service would be a bit over $6,000, which means about 48 cents per square kilometer for the whole 3 months. And if now you still have questions about how and what exactly to order on our marketplace, you can always contact our customer support. We will be happy to help you to choose the right product and place an order.
Great, thank you, Maria. Much appreciated. I think that gives us a great overview of the different ways in which L8Genesis has been deployed on the CloudEO environment, whether it's the Workbench where you're in effect running with Envy and IDL on a virtualized desktop with the L8Genesis algorithms and direct access to the data, or whether you want to really just use a GUI interface and use the different services, the different GeoServices that are available. I particularly like the ability to use a monitoring service where you can select an area and monitor that over an extended period of time. It becomes an extremely useful tool and one that's easy to implement at relatively low cost. So let's talk a little bit more about the CloudEO environment. What I've seen is that many people, as they go through the process of translating a remote sensing application from a desktop environment to a cloud environment, find that this can often be complex and sometimes onerous. So Harris have made it much easier for you to do that with our GeoServices framework and the Envy task engine. CloudEO make it even easier by providing to you the infrastructure available on the CloudEO GeoMarketplace. And this is really what has been enabling technology for ExoGenesis to very quickly, rapidly deploy the L8Genesis tools on CloudEO with the least amount of effort and the least amount of investment. And what you see is the CloudEO infrastructure gives you access to a common API. As a developer, you can not worry so much about developing an API. You use what's available from CloudEO. This makes it a common interface to all of their GeoServices, and it's one that can be modified and adjusted to meet the needs of the particular application. So the user obviously would use that interface to select their region of interest, the products they want to order, and then behind the scenes you have this infrastructure that's provided by CloudEO. So CloudEO take from the user, in effect, what is a JSON order file, and that is sent out to the order orchestrator. The orchestrator will then reach out to the search and download services to procure and bring in the data that's required. And then for the analysis, the orchestrator will connect out via the HTTP request to our GSF and Envy engine environment. Once the results are then created and published, they're made available to the user on the CloudEO store, and that's where you'd see your final products. And typically most of the GeoServices will provide, as Tim mentioned earlier, output in a range of formats. So For a lot of people, a PDF is required. For others, they want to do additional analysis. So outputting as GeoTIFF or as an ENVI format file to go directly into your ENVI environment is all part of these GeoServices. And then if there's other formats required, developers can also implement those as well. So it's a very robust, very scalable environment. And I think what we've shown here is that this can be a very effective, quick, and easy way to get meaningful information from your Landsat imagery. So as we wrap up today's webinar, I'd encourage you to create an account on the CloudEO GeoMarketplace and try out L8Genesis for yourself. It's very easy to do. Creating an account takes less than 2 minutes, and before you know it, you can be looking at an area of interest and working out how to run the L8Genesis analytics on your selected area. In addition, though, if you have an image analysis workflow or an algorithm or solutions that derive meaningful information from your imagery using ENVI and you want to commercialize it, then this also is an opportunity for you, and we encourage you to contact us directly on that. If you're an image scientist looking to wrap up and deploy your own ENVI analytics and want an easier way to acquire your imagery data, let us help you automate your workflow and deploy it to the CloudEO as a new GeoService. As way of follow-up, tomorrow we will send you links to these slides and also a white paper that describes how to generate an automated GeoService, but it also describes how to wrap your service with the CloudEO Order Orchestrator wrapper, enabling people to start directly purchasing derived products from the CloudEO store. We'd also like to take this opportunity to look through questions that have been asked. We have had some questions put into the question window, and I would encourage you now, if you have additional questions, to put those in. We'll give a couple of minutes and then I'll start asking the questions. Okay, so we have some questions that have come in. The first one, let's see, I think this would probably be best addressed to Maria. Maria, the question is, does my application have to fulfill certain requirements, like a certain programming language?
Thank you, Nigel. Yeah, that is actually a really good question. And to answer that shortly, I can say that in general, we are really, really flexible. The easiest is if you have something in Docker or if it's a simple ENVI task. But in any case, if you have something, contact us and we will be happy to help you find the best way to bring it to the market.
Great. I would also encourage those using ENVI who are generating their own analytics are probably using IDL, and IDL is a great language for this environment to be deploying your analytics. So 2 areas there. We also had somebody asking a question about Python. Again, within the ENVI environment, we have the ability to link to Python and pass data to and from. So it does work very nicely in that. We also, well, actually, we're getting quite a lot of questions coming in, which is great. Let me give one to Tim. Tim, it says here, do you intend to develop a similar tool for any other Earth observation satellite data?
Thank you, Nigel. Yes, again, good question, and I believe someone else might have asked that as well in the questions section. Yeah, we're looking into doing this as for Sentinel-2 and Aster data as well. The algorithms won't be exactly the same. They're going to be tuned based on each particular satellite's strengths and weaknesses according to the bands and frequency responses they supply. But yes, we do plan to expand this to include other sensors as well.
Thank you. Let's have a look. Some great questions coming in. Okay, one for Maria. We have a question: what methods of payment are allowed for these services? So payment methods on CloudEO.
Okay. In this case, I would just encourage you to go to the CloudEO store and have a look yourself. But again, I can say that we're pretty flexible when it comes to that, and we accept all usual payment methods.
Yeah, is the majority credit card?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard talk of Bitcoin as well. Is that something that might happen at some point, or is that wishful thinking?
Well, it is a big topic, and of course also at CloudEO we are working on something like that. So yeah, maybe soon this will be a big topic.
Great. Okay, question here. Are the indexes outputs possible to visualize, import into GIS software?
Yes, the outputs from L8Genesis are a standard geotip file and also include an NV header and TFW file as well. So those files should be importable into just about any image analysis software.
Great. And then is CloudEO and L8Genesis available for evaluation period, and what are the conditions? I would imagine that the GeoServices are just readily available, and certainly there's no quotes evaluation. But what about on the desktop environment, the Workbench?
Yeah, Nigel, you're right. On the Workbench, this is different, yeah. So in that case, also contact our customer support, and we can customize something for you.
Okay. Gosh, it's interesting. There's lots of questions coming in, and I'm trying to find one that was talking about L8Genesis. Yeah, what is the minimum area customer can select to order products for? I'm not sure whether that's a Tim or a Maria question.
I can answer, and if Tim has something to add. So there is a minimum order value, and I mean, it depends which product you choose. It is about one Landsat scene, or the minimum price is always $10 on the store.
Any additional comments, Tim?
No, I don't have anything to add to that.
Great. Okay, good. And obviously, we attract a lot of academics to our webinars. A question regarding L8Genesis and academic discounts. Is there anything offered for academic discounts?
Yes, we have an academic discount on the CloudEO store. We have a separate section for that. It says academia. You just go to the academia section on the CloudEO store, and you will find the offer for academia.
Wonderful. Great. I'm pretty certain that wraps up the majority of the questions. So we'd like to look to close the webinar now. I'd like to take this opportunity to let you all know that the webinar has been recorded, and tomorrow we will send out links so that you can access and also share the recording with your colleagues. And we'll also make available in a PDF the slides that were presented today, so you have those as well. So for everybody online, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your attention and also the interaction and the work that you put into the poll questions. And of course, I have to give special thanks to both Tim and Maria for putting together a great presentation, some excellent examples of how NV, L8Genesis, Landsat, and CloudEO work together. So thank you, both of you, and we wish everyone to have the best rest of their day, and we look forward to presenting to you again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.